What is going on, everybody? So I am back today to talk about a film that was actually recommended to me by one of you on here, saying that it was one of your favorite horror films in recent memory. And so I wanted to check this one out, and I read a couple reviews on it, and I know that this was really well received by the people who saw it, but I know that it wasn't super popular. The mention of it was the first time I'd ever even heard of the movie, and so I'm really looking forward to talking about it today. And the film I'm going to be discussing is Masking Threshold. Masking Threshold is directed by Johannes Grenzfurthner. Conducting a series of experiments in his makeshift home lab, a skeptic IT worker tries to cure his harrowing hearing impairment. But where will his research lead him? Masking Threshold combines a chamber play, a scientific procedural, an unpacking video, and a DIY YouTube channel while suggesting endless vistas of existential pain and decay. So I had no idea what to expect with this movie. I went into it with a completely open and fresh perspective. And this movie was insane. I absolutely loved this movie. I think that it is really, when we're discussing like surrealist art house horror that kind of looks at subject matter that we've seen covered before, or like stories that we've seen told in very specific ways, and completely changing the style and the way that this material can be approached. So as the description said, we're introduced to our lead character, who I don't even think we're given his name throughout the entirety of the film. And he starts telling us a little bit about his life. He lives in Florida. His dad was in the military. He has kind of a weird relationship with his mom. He's a gay man in the state of Florida, which is very heavily conservative. He works a shitty job at an IT company that he doesn't really want to be at, but he's doing it just to make money so that he can get by. And at the beginning of the film, he's kind of given us this background information so that we kind of feel bad for him. I mean, amidst all the different things that he's been through and the trajectory that his life is going through, things haven't seemingly worked out the best for him. And then he tells us about his tinnitus, which, if you're unfamiliar, tinnitus is this issue that people have where there's a ringing in their ear. I actually have been dealing with it for the past several years, and it can be really irritating. For some people, it only happens for brief moments, that you get this really weird sound in your ear and it just goes for a while until it stops. But he explains that there are people in the world who get it to where they can't really function in a day-to-day life. It's so bad and overwhelming that they can't operate. So the entire premise of the film is he is trying to figure out why he is inflicted with this horrible version of tinnitus, and why all his doctors and the people around him tell him that it's not as severe as he thinks that it is, and that he's playing into it too much, and he thinks that he just isn't understood. And so the film is him isolated in this one specific space, trying to figure out what causes his tinnitus and if he can move past it and learn to live with it. And it's a slow descent into insanity. And it is one of the most wild films I have watched in recent memory. Similarly to Kyle Ball's Skinamarink that was released recently, the visual style in this is so unique. You do not see our lead character's face at all. You see like side profiles from the back. We see like glimpses of him, but we don't actually ever see him face forward. But the cinematography in this, for being almost, I want to say, found footage style, because he's vlogging this, his findings, trying to figure out what's causing this, are so beautifully shot. The cinematography is like stunning, and the editing is so slick and seamless, and it works together with the beautiful cinematography so well to create this otherworldly, ethereal experience that really is unlike anything I've ever watched. You're put into this situation where this person is suffering from this very specific thing. And a lot of people haven't dealt with tinnitus in their life, but what the director does so well is utilize the sound design in order to kind of put you in the scenario with this lead actor. You get this constant like hissing throughout the film, and all these sounds that just make you feel like you're uncomfortably in this person's shoes in a way that not a lot of films can do this, where they just set you inside this place and make you feel the way that this character feels. And it was incredibly impressive to me that he was able to pull this off. It's very like unsettling is the best way I can describe it, because it's not like in the first, it's an hour and a half movie, and it's not like in the first half hour, 40 minutes, anything truly scary is happening, but it's unsettling while also being really intriguing. And that's what I liked about it. And there's a lot of questions about societal standards and how we look at people specifically, and like what is a conventional norm, which I thought was really interesting. But while he's spiraling into insanity, you also get elements of like the conspiracy theory culture and what people choose to believe if they dive into something too much, which I think is very paralleled to our society currently, and how a lot of people get very carried away with getting online, reading misinformation, justifying it in their head because they're isolated and don't have anyone else to rationalize with them. Hey, just think about this for 30 seconds and you sound like a raving lunatic. It's just you if you pour yourself into something for so long and you're so isolated, you'll believe virtually anything. And that's why it's so interesting to see how he sort of shuts off his mother. There's a girl who lives across the street that comes over to visit him every now and again that he sort of begins to shut off. And so the relationship dynamics conveyed are also really well done. And it's just one of the most unique films I've watched in a very long time. It's approached so differently in its narrative storytelling than any movie I can think of in recent memory. And it's one that I'm planning on adding into my rotation again and again and again, because I had no idea what to expect with this movie. And I don't want to get into a lot of specifics because I think that there's something about going into this movie and just experiencing it. It's just so different than anything you'll ever watch. And I'm sure it's not for everyone, but if you're a horror movie lover or just like a found footage lover in general, this is one that like reinvigorated the genre for me and made me feel something that not a lot of these films can. So get on watching Masking Threshold as soon as you possibly can. So have you seen Masking Threshold? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was fantastic. I had no idea what to expect. It exceeded every expectation, and I can't wait to add this into my regular rotation. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.